And good morning, nerds, and welcome to the very first episode of a new series, Let's Play Something New. This series is built as a guide for both players who are wanting to venture into a system they're not familiar with, as well as for game masters who are looking for a guide to send to their new players, either whether or not they're kind of joining the table in the middle of something or if it's a new system for everyone at the table. These guides are built to reduce the tabletop role-playing game system to its nuts and bolts. That way, after watching the guide associated with each system, you as a player should have completed a character as well as it's gotten enough knowledge about the core rules and gameplay to feel comfortable at the table. Now, the very first one that we're going into, the very first system I'll be taking a look at is going to be Salvage Union. Oh my goodness, I am loving I love Salvage Union the moment that I heard about it now, and nuts and bolts indeed. The very first system we'll be covering is Salvage Union by Leyline Press. This is a system that the moment that I heard about it, I became infatuated with it. The worn look of the core book, as the core rules book, as well as kind of the interesting art and the killer mech designs had me in love. And I find it necessary to let you know that I am not sponsored or collaborating with anyone from Leyline Press. Frankly, I've just run out of people to give the elevator pitch to. Salvage Union is a gritty sci-fi with all your classic post-apocalyptic cyberpunk, even maybe a little diesel punk, if you really want to kind of stretch the limits there. Desired all wrapped into one kind of beautiful package TTRPG. If you love Pacific Rim and Transformers or absolutely lost it during the 2017 live stream of Megabots, where Eagle Prime faced up against Kuratis, then you're gonna love mech fighting. I mean, who doesn't like big robots? I guess you could put Titanfall in there. Was it Titanfall? It's Titanfall, right? That just shows how much I didn't play it. I love the game. I love the look of it, but I never actually played it. Yeah, Titanfall. Um, if you like the type of stuff, you're gonna absolutely love the mech fighting that's in the game here. Um, I find that the system is actually relatively easy to understand and execute, and there's really not a lot of dice rolling and kind of if you think about it like a Dungeons and Dragons character sheet, there are so much calculations and stats that you have to keep track of. This really kind of boils it down to very few moving parts, but a big theme in here is going to be exploration and inventory management. You'll find very quickly that these mech pieces take a lot of inventory space, and you don't have a lot of space in your backpack. Um, and so speaking of videos of Salvage Union, I'm going to be splitting this up into four different videos. We're first going to start off today with the pilot creation. Next video will be all about the mech creation. Next video after that is going to be the Union crawler creation, which is actually really interesting. And the entire table has a hand in making the Union crawler, which I'll get into later. And then, of course, basic rules and core gameplay, just to make sure that you feel comfortable sitting down at the table for the very first time and playing Salvage Union. So, step one, the workshop manual breaks pilot creation into 8 easy steps. First of which is filling out the stats. Ultimately, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your copy of the character sheet, whether or not you're going to keep it digital or if you're going to print it out like I did. It's actually sitting on my desk right here. Um, First, get a copy of the character sheet, and then pretty much any level one pilot is going to start with 10 health points or HP. Each pilot will start with 5 ability points, AP, and then of course it's going to be where there's going to be 6 inventory slots. Now, I want to get this inventory slots later just because I want to address kind of the health points and the ability points first. So let's take a look at the character sheet. You'll see a couple boxes that we need to fill in at the very top. On the right-hand side of the top half, you will find the health points, ability points, and training points associated with your character. As we mentioned before, we're going to start off with 10 HPs. We're going to put 10 in the max, 10 in the current. We're going to put 6 AP in the max and then 6 in the current. And then training points will come in later. We're going to put this big fat 0 there for now, but we'll get to that later when we kind of go over gaming core mechanics here. Step two. All right, look at us. We're already on step two here. And this is when it starts kind of getting a little bit of fun here. We're actually going to pick our class. Now, when making a character, you get to choose one of 6 core classes. After progressing, some of those classes will have the opportunity to upgrade into hybrid classes, which means that you want to make sure you're at least knowledgeable about what you're picking now, because it may hinder what you can pick later. Ultimately, you want to choose engineer if you want a character that can fix yours and your enemies, yours and your allies' mechs. Sorry, craft mech parts out in the wild and have an innate ability to make things start or stop moving. You can choose a hacker if you want to bend technology to your will. This means being able to take control of other mechs, union crawlers, or even settlements, which I think is crazy. Not to mention, if you want to be a cyborg, you have to kind of start here a hacker. You could choose a hauler if you like to pick everything up. If you bank every rank up point in Skyrim into strength just so you never got overburdened and had to walk the walk of shame, then this class is for you. You can choose Scout if you value your paint job, because this class allows you to snipe, track, and perform reconnaissance out in the wastes, which are all things performed at a very far distance. So if you like to keep your mechs nice and shiny, I bet a Scout's good for you. Next, combat. If that word excited you, then you would choose Soldier. And then, of course, um, you can choose the Salvager, which actually allows you to pick a little bit of everything there. Now, a Salvager cannot go into higher classes, cannot rank up into the advanced core advanced abilities. The other ones can, but you become sort of a jack of all trades. And if you think specialization is for insects, then this class is full of true Renaissance people. So you're gonna get with it. So actually, I love the idea of being intel and kind of the man in the chair for my team. So I'm actually gonna pick Scout. I'm gonna write it right here underneath class. All right. And now, also since we are picking our class, we get to actually pick our first ability, which means if we go down just a little bit to the abilities section, you'll see a lot of boxes here. I'm just going to show you the top row here. We get to pick one core ability to start off with, which means I can pick any of the three options available to me at the very top row of my scouts list. And I'm actually going to go with You Shot First because I feel like it's going to be really fun being able to. I feel like it's very important to go first in Wasteland. And so I'm also going to write down the abilities in the details section below, and followed by that, I get to choose I get to write how many ability points it takes to activate the action type, which is going to be a free action. And then some abilities will have a range, but ultimately I don't necessarily have a range in this. Um, and you can find the pilot ability symbol legend on page 23 of the workshop manual. All right, so great. We're flying through this character sheet, which means that it will take that it's time for us to take a look at the equipment now. Now the equipment is really cool, and the equipment can range from anything between improvised explosives to first aid kits. The list of all the Tech 1 pilot equipment is listed on page 78 of the workshop manual, but I already know the two pieces of equipment in mind, and so I'm going to head over to Sorry, you get to choose two pieces of Tech 1 pilot equipment from the list. I already know what my two are going to be, so I'm actually going to head to my inventory list. Now, what I mentioned before is that when we first start, we get 6 slots. I kind of drew a line through here just so I knew kind of how big my backpack was. And so I'm going to write in 2 tech pieces into my inventory here. And I don't think it's wise to be out in the wastelands without a firearm. So I'm going to be choosing the improvised firearm. This Tech 1 equipment also has some extra details I need to keep track of, hence the extra text outside the title. This is all information that can be found within the improvised firearm section of the Tech One equipment, and so definitely check out your specific piece that you're going to be doing, just to make sure that you write down everything you need to. My second tool is going to be salvaging tools. Now these don't have necessarily any extra details. But I mean, in a game called Salvage Union, I figure I'm going to need to pack some salvaging tools because I plan on stripping and scrapping pretty much any sort of mech that I find out in the wild. Um, which means now we get to choose our call sign. We've passed the most complicated part of the creating a pilot, and from here on out, it's going to be mostly flavor with a few game mechanics that I'll discuss as we go. When it comes to choosing your call sign is your name. Since most of your communication is between your party in game is going to be through comms units or radios, it's important to make yours kind of short and snappy. If you think that you can't think of anything off the top of your head, you can also roll on the call sign chart. Now, I am going to grab my hot pink D20 here and give it a quick roll. Okay, and I got an 11, which means that I'll be using that center column there. And I'll roll it again. And I got a 14. So let's head to the character sheet and pencil it in. So I'm taking it back here. I've already written my scout down, but I get to write in my call sign now, which is Whistler. I think Whistler as a scout is pretty cool. I think that kind of sets me up for a little bit of success here. But we're going to now move into step 5. We're making record time here. Um, Next is going to be the background for the character. Now, of course, if you have an idea of what your background can be, you're more than welcome to make your own. And of course, if you don't have if you don't have a background in mind, you can roll on the background table. And so backgrounds are actually pretty cool here. Before we get to the background table, when you make an action that aligns with your background, you can re-roll the dice that you were using to resolve the action, which in this game is always a d20. And so if you do an action that aligns with your background, you can re-roll that dice and take the second option, which I think is really, really cool and kind of incentivizes you to really kind of get in tune with your character and think like they would. And so, I mean, the chart here, I want to roll on it. I'm going to grab my d20 here. And I got an 11. So let's take it to the feet along with my Whistler call sign, my scout class. I'm going to write in I'm a corpo worker, if you want to dig into the lore a little bit, you can definitely take a look at what a corpo worker means. But I'm definitely part of I'm a blue collar worker when it comes to the, the, uh, the, the world of Salvage Union. So I'm excited for that. Next, going to be the step 6. We get to choose our motto, which is going to be great. The motto is very similar to the background. Again, there's no rule stating that you can't make your own motto, but if you can't think of anything catchy, you can roll on the motto table. Now, a motto is going to be very similar to the background. However, actually, the motto is meant for other characters, and I think that's really cool. The motto is meant for ultimately, I can say my motto to a fellow player, and they can re-roll their dice and take the second outcome. So my motto is kind of meant to uplift, encourage, or motivate my allies, and allows them to potentially roll higher on their second go. So looking at the model chart, I'm going to get my hot pink die and roll a 12. No job too big. And where did I put my sheet? Okay, here it is. The character sheet is looking pretty good at this point, and I'm going to put in my motto there, no job too big. Um, Great. Let's put down the number 7. There are just 2 more steps left into having a fully functional pilot. Let's pick out a keepsake. Now, at this point, you know what to do. Pick a keepsake that you can keep on your person. So I'll roll my die, and it looks like we're going to be keeping a 22-year-old bottle of whiskey on hand. So don't mind if I do. And so we'll come over here, and we will pencil that in underneath the keepsake. And I'm a corporal worker scout named Whittler who totes around a 22-year-old bottle of whiskey. No job too big indeed. Now you may have seen the used circles near the motto, keepsake, and background. That's because I want to walk back just a thing that I just said a little bit ago. Not every time that you roll a dice that aligns with your background or keepsake, or when you say your motto, you get one of those in between each downtime. Um, Downtime is something that we'll discuss later, but understand that these re-rolls should be used strategically. I know I made it sound like you could just do it whenever you wanted, so I do want to walk that back. Um, it is going to be something that you use sparingly, so you want to make sure that you're using it strategically. But step 8 is going to be the final step, and perhaps probably the most lengthy. If you like to draw your character, because when you're choosing your appearance, um, you know, there's a table. And so if you're not feeling very creative, if you don't necessarily want to think about what your character looks like, you're more than welcome to roll on the appearance table, which is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be rolling it. And I got a 10 here. So we're going to slide the final brick into our character sheet. And along with all this, I'm going to add plump to my character sheet. Now, I didn't expect to roll plump, but it's kind of already growing on me, not to mention all the pots are full now, which means that my pilot is done. I'm on the larger side, scout named Whistler. I mean, but I have a 22-year-old bottle of whiskey. I feel like that kind of comes with the plump. I'm a corporal worker. No job too big. So we have our call sign, we have our class, we have our appearance, we have our motto, keepsake, and background. We've filled in our HP, AP, and TP, as well as having 2 pieces of equipment, our first ability, and it looks like we are all good to go. And that's the pilot. Easy, right? Then good, because the next episode gets much harder as we fabricate our mechs. But I hope that this step-by-step guide provided some clarity when creating a pilot and got you a little more excited to play the game. Now, if you want to play Salvage Union, but you don't have a game mediator to facilitate the game, check out my profile on startplaying.games where I run Salvage Union games. And the link will be in my description of this video. Now, make sure to tune in to Tether by the Table's live streams to watch our long running campaign on Twitch. We have a blast over there. And I will see you in the next episode where we will go over mech creation. But we'll see you later.